you're online. Nadia, please start.
Hello, everybody. So I welcome you again on our interview session with Vikas Goyal, owner of Shri Roadways. And today we discuss investments and pivots during pandemic on manufacturing, supply chains, and logistics. My name is Nadia Nesterova. I'm an independent director of the board of the National Alternative Investment Management Association and an advisor to a number of general partners in private equity, venture capital, private equity, real estate, and hedge funds. Hello, Vikas. Could you briefly introduce yourself, your company, and the background in the manufacturing?
Yeah, we are into transportations, basically not in manufacturing. It's more of a service industry. So I'm director at Shri Roadways Limited, and I'm thankful to you for having me over here today. I'm also CEO of Whistle Freights, and we are into transportation since last 29 years. Whistle Freights is a freight exchange mobile platform where a shipper can connect with a carrier or truck owner of his choice directly and effortlessly.
Thank you so much, Vikas. So taking into account your 29-year experience in logistics, how has the digitalization of manufacturing, supply chain, and logistics been accelerated over the past 6 months, taking into account the pandemic situation and the global crisis?
See, pre-pandemic situation versus the pandemic situation, I would say that initially there were many offline transactions happening across the industry. But now there are more chances of online transactions because since everybody is working from home. Again, working from home was not a culture in India. That was like far from it. Everybody over here would like to visit personally, make more monetary transactions. And that was how it was earlier. But now the things have changed and since everybody's working from home, so there are more online transactions happening. The use of hard currency is also getting reduced. Now digital payments have also come in, use of cards, all these things that have now begun to use. There were less usage of apps, mobile apps, and everything was not too frequently used over here. But now dependency on this also has increased. So yeah, there are a number of changes that has happened over here.
Thank you, Vikas. We just saw the potentially one of the greatest stress tests on supply chains and logistics. What will be the outcome of this stress test, to your mind?
The outcome of stress test. Yeah, that's quite interesting to see because what I foresee, a lot of changes will happen. There are a lot of cost reductions will take place because we will have to work with less of workers, with less of costs involved in traveling. And so, yes, it should be positive overall. The future should be quite bright in this.
You mentioned that your company is mostly local, and the digitalization process is making it easier for local companies to go global as well. True. And to attract a lot of global customers. But the current crisis is also making people focus on where their mouth is, right? And where will there be more localized manufacturing and supply chain take into account these risks of pandemics? Or what are your thoughts on that? What could be the trend?
Localization, yes, there is a very strong chances that localization will increase. The number of players will also increase because they will have to rely more on local products rather than global ones. Because globalization, I feel that local products will obviously sell more. The requirement will be more local because migration will reduce. As it is over here, people are going back to their hometowns, and the governments over there, the agencies over there, they are trying to find jobs for all those migrants over there in their hometowns only. So yes, localization will increase.
And how should founders be thinking about their supply chains when preparing to navigate raising capital in the current environment, which is also quite challenging?
Yeah, that is quite a challenging part, no doubt in that. Competing within locals is digitalization will surely help. Not many people are into digital markets in India. So anybody having a good experience, like since we have 20 years experience, so we know the entire industry in and out, on the basis of which this new product, the Whistle Freights platform we have built. So we know like how it is going to run, and we know the needs of the industry. So yes, hyperlocal people, those who have a very vast experience in this field since so many years, they will currently have an edge. So investors will certainly be, I'm sure they will be looking more into such transactions, such people who are having such a good and rich experience. And that criteria, I believe that it will change in the near future, at least. It will change to which uh, supplier, or to which digital they should be having as their a new venture.
Thank you very much, Vikas. And James, hello, James.
Hey,
Could you
Nadia.
introduce yourself and your company and the background in terms of manufacturing, supply chain, and logistics expertise you have?
I am with Photon Fund. My name is James Lee. Photon Fund is an early stage investor. We mainly focus on deep tech and biotech. When I say deep tech, there's a part of the deep tech is involved with the manufacturing. And we are early stage, meaning pre-revenue, but post POC. And as myself, I am an engineer by training, and also have MBA from Berkeley, and currently based in Boston, and my fund is actually based in Silicon Valley, California. I hope that gives enough of intro.
Yeah, sure, James. And we've discussed a number of questions with Vikas already, and I would like to address a couple of them to you as well, to be at to address it on the investor side as well. So how has the digitalization of manufacturing, supply chain, and logistics been accelerated over the past 6 months to your mind?
To me, I think there's still some year to come to be re-adopt in the current situation. Of course, I think the pandemic is going to help to push you through this digitalization, trying to keep the people in distance and also less of people coming to manufacturing and also take turn, things like that.
Yes, and we saw quite great stress tests on supply chains and logistics currently. So what could be the outcomes of these stress tests? Will we see more of localization for manufacturing and supply chain? And what should founders think about in terms of preparing to navigate raising capital and in the current environment? What would you highlight on that?
Yeah, so I think we all agree the new norm will be different after this pandemic, right? And when, as an example, we recently make investment in rapid diagnosis using CRISPR technology that can help to get a test result within an hour. I mean, 45 minutes, which is going to help for manufacturing and also a lot broader range of uses in application. As example, if you can get this test result, then your worker can come in more in a safe and confined environment. Another example is, for example, travel and movie theater, that type of occasion. A lot of people are condensed. If you can have this kind of test doing fast enough and cheap enough, then you can kind of starting to reopen the economy and this type of use cases. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and what industries do you think have been mostly impacted by this situation?
I think all of the industry will be impacted, right? We cannot really just see in the stock market, and that has been a little bit decoupled from realistic. At least at where I am most familiar with is California and Boston, Massachusetts. People starting to reopen. For example, the restaurant and some other thing, but the travel industry, airline, still a very struggle. So I would say all of the industry has a big impact, but the biotech life science seems to have less of impact. But the rest of the industry has been impacted greatly, in my opinion.
Thank you, James. And the question to all. So what are some of the upcoming trends and opportunities in manufacturing, supply chains, and logistics you can observe? Because
Yeah. See, the thing is that because of a lower availability of resources like manpower and expansion of digital technology, the cost reductions will definitely come in play. So that is one thing, one area where the challenge is that you have to change your own self and understand how it's going to be in future. So that is one area where a lot of changes are needed.
And what's your opinion, James? So what are the new trends emerging from this supply chain and manufacturing stress tests and the current situation? So what are the new opportunities emerging?
Yeah, so I do agree with Vikas, and also either supply chain or the manufacturing is going to merge into the retail, right? And we can really feel the retail is going to be different. The way people get into the store or not get into the store, and how they get into the store, does that really need it for a store? That's some other thing. Feel that it's going to be quite different in the future. So we can take that as a starting point and track it back to the manufacturing and also the supply chain. As you can see, the new, I would say the second wave, not sure if everybody know, the new second wave pandemic happened in China. They're kind of starting to trace it back to where is that really coming from. A lot of rumor, not really confirmed yet. Like within salmon, it's hard to imagine now coming with salmon, but they actually trace it back to Europe. So I would say a lot of testing will be required, not only for human, but also for agriculture, animal meat, and also sea and planet will be one of the fundamental ways going to change for sure.
Thank you, James. And what is in the focus of your investment focus right now in terms of your portfolio? Now, what is the most interesting for you as an investment target?
So for our strategy, first couple months, we are focused at our portfolio company as most of the VC. Make sure they have enough runway, make sure they did the assessment, finding the ground truths, where are they at, should they get in the PPE or not. Second stage, that has been always be the case, that we have to always do the strategy to see if they should go for offense or defense strategy. Same thing, still cash is the king, and really watch out for your working capital. Look at your customer and also your supply chain. And right now we are trying to really adopt this new norm, really understand when this recover, if the supply chains recover for 3 months or 6 months, and we should expect something is coming back in the fall or winter, and what should we do? So that's mainly our focus. And the new investment interest, we have always been dynamics change. So for us, we are a couple area we are watching for, right? One of the area is fast diagnosis and rapid diagnosis. I think that has been underappreciated in before period to the COVID-19. Right now, people should realize that.
Thank you, James and Vikas. So you've been in your area of expertise in logistics and with your company for 29 years, and you're the owner, so you know all the aspects of the company development. And What is different now in terms of our crisis today, pandemic, including the global crisis, as compared with the previous cycles you've been through?
See, in the previous cycles, there were many offline transactions happening, which has now shifted to onlines because since people are going less outside, meeting lesser people, talking more on digital platforms rather than on face-to-face basis. So that is one key area. So this is basically the movement has reduced. The actual physical meetings will reduce and more things will happen digitally. That is one of the things that is happening. Then migration, I told you, migration of workers is also one big thing that is gonna take place because since they will get more opportunities in their own hometowns, they would not want to come back to their the factories and such places of work where there are more chances of catching up the virus. So these are the main areas where the focus will be. And uh, after breaking of the pandemic, they will have to concentrate more on digitalization processes, online processes. So that is one thing that I would like to add over here.
Thank you. And James, how to balance this during this time of scalability? So it's the time of platforms which are trying to be global and at the same time how to keep up with the pace of change and innovation and be lean and focus on the revenues at the same time. So how to balance all this and to be on the radar of VC investors with all these criteria you mentioned.
Yeah, I think we always compare to the current situation compared to the previous downturn, which is 08, 09. But my personal feeling is this is actually quite different from 08, 09. And 08, 09 is mainly the things getting worse in certain financial sector and getting the fear among the people that is mainly the problem with demand side. For today's pandemic and consider it always a threat to coming back for the second wave and the treatment is not ready, the vaccine is not ready. My feeling is this fear is not only economics, is not only on the demand side, but also on the supply side. It's manufacturing is not as easy as a switch of the light. If you like we can say, right, when you have this totally stall and turn everything off, turn light off, you send the worker home. When you have them coming back, it actually takes quite a time to make sure that hand to hand they still can up running and the way that they're running before is actually takes some time. So I would say it certainly need to be localization and will be quite different before. It's not like you can have everything back on track pretty quickly and from the supply side and also demand. And second thing I want to add is this globalism and anti-globalism strategy always have to be taken into consideration. It's hard to make a judgment right now, but we can see a lot of starting to see some supply chain was moving into China in the past, I would say 10, 20 years. But right now we can still see people is actually moving out of China. I have to say, anti-globalism and moving the supply chain out of China or to de-risk spreading out to a different area still consider globalism, just different strategy. So that's something we have always been thinking and watch for.
Thank you, James. And Vikas, as an owner, what is in the focus of your attention? How to sustain and succeed in the current environment? What are your key priorities in terms of sales and keeping up with the spirit within your team? And what are your key priorities in general for next half a year to go?
See, as far as the sales are concerned, I would say our focus will be more on distribution and supply chain and transportation of those products which are needed the most right now, which is medicine, foods, and all those essential commodities which are required on day-to-day basis, rather than focusing on FMCG products which are not a necessity but more of a luxury. So though luxury items will obviously take a back seat and necessity items will be on the forefront, and because they will be needed on daily basis, so supply for that, the demand for that will be high in the market. So that is one focus area where we can improve the sales on. And as far as the team is concerned, to keep their morale high, we have strictly instructed my entire workforce to not venture out unless and until it is absolutely necessary. They work from home. I have provided all the infrastructure that is needed, all the mobiles, laptops, printers, whatever is required, that has been given to them at their homes itself. And because of which we were fortunate enough to be able to reach our 100% margins, 100% of our sales targets in the month of May. In spite of India being on a very strong lockdown, we could achieve that just because we could work from home. My entire team, I could keep them boosted by regularly talking to them, making them understand the need of the hour. So that was how I could do it.
Thank you so much, Vikas. And James, what would be your recommendation for any startup leaders who are planning fundraising rounds in the near half a year?
Yeah, in my opinion, you really need to shoot for extend your runway. There's a couple ways to extend your runway, right? Increase your revenue or decrease your expenditure, and really look at your product and technology. Does it have really tied up with what we can say is that really essential? Even the economic stop again, what is that going to do to your customer? Will you be able to really increase your revenue even in a time like this? I'm sure if that's the case, then your investor is willing to put in more money for you to be more in offense strategy, in my opinion. In the other way, if that's the other way around, then you will have to really reduce your expenditure, your costs, and really extend your runway. And depends. If that's still something have a hard requirement, a core technology, that will be something we were still willing to invest. That has always been our case for our portfolio company.
What about online communication with your potential investees or your current portfolio companies? Do you find any new formats of interaction, both for your portfolio companies or maybe potential new teams who could join your portfolio? James?
Yeah, so here's the thing. We should put this in two buckets, right? One is we have already met in person with the team, either we invest or not. That's one bucket. The other bucket is we really haven't met them in person yet. So that's a tough one for us, because for us, invest in startup and entrepreneur and founder, actually the management team actually play a major factor for us. So of course we can look at the resume. They have been done venture before. They had quite a quite good exit in the past, but still for us, we really still like to interact with people and really meet in person. So for that target that we haven't met in person, I would say still encourage people to do a lot of pitch event and online pitch event. Then if the technology product fall into our investment theory, we will still consider, but more or less doing the due diligence offline in our farm and get all of the thing to be understand market sizes or the technology assessment, everything. Once the pandemic passed, we can still meet in person and we can make decisions sooner once everything is open. Can we invest in some venture or company that we haven't met in person yet? I don't know. We are always thinking if that could be the case, but so far we haven't do that yet. We made two investments in a few weeks ago, back at the end of April. We all have met in the team multiple times in the past. So I just want to mention that. Yeah.
Thank you. And Vikas, what in terms of your team and sustainability, in terms of your long-term strategy, is there anything new in terms of crisis communication for your team, how to deliver your vision to the team through the crisis? Was there any new formats of interaction on your side as an owner? And were there any situations or cases you would like to share on that?
There has been a few cases where deliveries did get hampered because of local, like the cases were there in that particular area. The COVID positive cases were there. So we could not make deliveries. So deliveries got stuck for days over there. So it was quite challenging at that time during the crisis when we had to find a way around to deliver the goods or take authorities into consideration, explaining them the situation that this is urgently required, the delivery has to be made. But only those products which were essentially needed, we could deliver those products. Otherwise, unless and until the lockdown was not lifted, we could not deliver those products. So we had to wait. We had no other choice. So that was quite challenging, yes. Keeping our drivers, our team members, our staff and everybody, to keep them happy is one thing, to keep them with ourselves, to retain them so that we can deliver as promised. So keeping my vision in mind, how to keep them boosted, it is quite challenging because the situation is changing ever so rapidly right now, and nobody is sure, at least as far as India is concerned, nobody's too sure how things will unfold in next few months. But everybody's keeping their fingers crossed. So as far as the situation is concerned, we are not even sure, because the second wave, like James say, it is not yet hit over here. So it is going to hit. There is no doubt in that. Second wave will come in. How will it affect our country? How will it affect the people? How will it affect the financial situation? We are not too sure about that as of now. Nobody can say for sure. So we are trying to do is to keep our staff and our clients happy, is that try to deliver whatever is possible in the lowest possible time. So that is the only thing that right now we are able to do.
Thank you so much, Vikas. And James, do you have any changes in your investment process during this situation?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we really trying to shift this due diligence process to be able to do a lot of diving in technology, product, and market assessment. And then as far as the team, of course, it's quite different to meet online, on Zoom, or in person. We will have to shift that part to a layer of the due diligence process. That has been the case still, which means in the past, you would say 1/3 of our deal pipe is mainly because they have a very interesting or brilliant founder team. But right now, we have to de-emphasize that, mainly really focus on technology itself, and then shift that part to later on of our due diligence process.
Thank you. And a question to both of you, as we are finalizing our fireside chat today on this panel discussion, what would be your key address to our audiences, which are serial entrepreneurs in various spheres and various parts of the world, and VC investors who are also looking for new opportunities and in various segments, including manufacturing, supply chain segments. James?
Yes. So pandemic or the urgent situation is the best, I would say, test or exam for the entrepreneurship. And if we look at the past data, the great, amazing startup or unicorn always born in this day like this. So, in my opinion, is a good era for founder to be able to show they can actually managing the emergent situation and really focus on extend your runway, really look at your strategy and try to calculate it and dynamically to see what is going to happen when the economic open up and also the second wave. That's my opinion.
Thank you, James. And Vikas, what would be your key address to our audiences?
I would say if I have to say use just one word, then I would use the word digital over here, because digitalization right now is the need of the hour. As far as far as India is concerned, I would say it's a big country with a lot of people, a lot of potential, and supply chain logistics has a long way to go, because the need is too much. The demand is very high over here. In spite of there being this pandemic, the demand is very high. So, and digitalization is one thing which will obviously help a lot, and that is the reason why I started with the Whistle Freights platform, because I know that this is the need of the hour and it will go a very long way. So my take from here is that digitalization is the only thing which will help. Hyperlocal, yes, hyperlocal will also help a lot to grow and keep it focused that way.
Thank you all. And also, I'm inspiring you to join our different formats of interaction, fireside chats and panel discussions as we had today. You can also do keynotes and masterclasses of your own to address some particular in-depth issues you would like to raise, both on fundraising, investors' points, and transportation, supply chain, and logistics. For you, Vikas, for instance, you can also do some masterclasses from the experience of your own company. And we also have Startup Leaders Club, which we just finalized maybe an hour ago, and we'll have another one tomorrow, where you can also share some trends, challenges, opportunities you are facing with your peers, investors, and serial entrepreneurs from different backgrounds and parts of the world. And tomorrow we'll have a keynote on decentralized finance, financial market transformation post-COVID-19, as the role of decentralized financial platforms and their regulation. And also have online pitch competition and a fun online roadshow, investments and pivots during pandemic on travel, transportation, and supply chain again. And our Startup Leaders Club tomorrow will be also devoted to Global Trends 2020 as the fast track to the new reality. So I wish you all the best for the week, and see you soon online on our future events. Bye-bye.